It's your uncle, Sam. And this is the great American game.
My Gemini twin back powering up. No more handshakes and hugs. The energy only circulate through us. Everybody must be judged. But this time, God only favoring us. 20 years in, still got that pen dedicated to bare hard truth. Etiquette speak with a vision and tongue. Predicate this time is I'm carrying heavier hearts right now. I can power lift with Olympians too. Carrying various darts right now. I deserve this like tiramisu. We go body for body. I hand you a body. I'm probably a better masseuse. Really don't bother nobody what they running by me. If I got to clear out the room, you would not get the picture if I had to sit you for hours in front of the Louvre. When I have a soul, even if I had told you to stand next to Johnny and Q. Started with nothing but government cheese, but now I can seize the government too. Remember the foods, them color was tan and brown, but now the hunted and blue. Remember I said I'm the greatest back when you debated the number one and number two. Topic was always hilarious to me. You carried them to me, I brought out the facts. The revolution about to be televised. You picked the right time, but the wrong guy. The wrong guy.
The wrong guy.
In my chain, pickable. 80 pointers like a Kobe game, pickable. 7.62s, I make them plain, pickable. I'm popping out your band, that's what my name, pickable. I put 2 foreigns on a full 5, pickable. That's catchy pepper if I'm doing pasta, pickable. Why you acting tough on IG Live, pickable. You know my loved ones with that, let's get it.
Do you view Vice President J.D. Vance as your successor, the Republican nominee in 2028?
No, but he's very capable. So far, I think he's doing a fantastic job. It's too early, we're just starting.
But by the time you get to the midterms, he's going to be looking for an endorsement.
Yeah, a lot of people have said that this has been the greatest opening, almost 3 weeks, in the history of the presidency.
It's actually been the fastest and the most stuff
Well,
happening.
we've done so much, so fast.
You're a fucking traitor! Traitor! Traitor!
I remember a time when Republicans were very careful about and worried about the government, particularly unelected people.
Well, we can't trust the government anymore.
Having access
That's
to
our
personal data.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
You are the government.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, is that the American people now are saying that we have had our personal information shared and out
But
there
now
in the
Elon
public.
Musk has access to it.
Yeah, but
He said
Elon
he
Musk
does.
is part of the administration that is helping us identify where we can find savings.
Man, I hate that things are so bad that we have to do a commercial about it.
Me too.
This great quarterback who has, by the way, a phenomenal wife, okay? She's a Trump fan, she's a MAGA fan, so I happen to love her, okay? I guess you have to say that when a quarterback wins as much as he's won, I have to go with Kansas City.
Well, take the football and take the knee. And that's going to round it up. We will count down these seconds for you.
That'll do it, boys and
They are
girls.
jamming the field. 18, 17, 16.
If your Black History Month wins only include things celebrities have accomplished or won, wouldn't a real Black History Month win be mass federal expungement of all records of Black people who have been convicted of nonviolent crimes? I just don't understand why Blackness is so tethered to celebrity, and that Blackness is never poor Black people, which is the majority of Black people. Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl performance, Beyonce winning Album of the Year for a country album, those are not Black History Month wins. Those are Black celebrity wins. And until the material conditions of the elders on my block change, That ain't no Black History Month win.
Barry Goldwater even talked about that back, when this was a thing. He was talking about how the civil rights regime was going to be built out. It would end freedom of association. And ultimately, what has it given white people? No rights. It's given political prisoners, thought crimes, censorship, banning. And now we can't have our own spaces, but they can have their own Black everything and be in all our white spaces. All of this because they couldn't drink in the same water fountain or use the same toilet. Was it really that big of a deal?
This afternoon, a judge keeping the president's buyout offer to federal workers on pause, while another federal judge ruling the Trump administration has not fully followed his order to unfreeze federal spending that President Trump had stopped, and telling the White House to release all the money.
And the day you're not allowed to look for theft and fraud, etc., then we don't have much of a country. So no judge should frankly be allowed to make that kind of a decision. It's a disgrace.
The president now telling billionaire Elon Musk and his Department of Government Efficiency to root out wasteful spending in the Education Department and the Pentagon. And employees at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau are being told to stay home this week. Trump's budget director says the agency has a surplus of over $700 million and that the spigot is now being turned off, while the agency says it's won back $17.5 billion for Americans. Democrats slamming the Trump administration for bypassing Congress.
If they want to have a conversation about efficiency, we can have that conversation about cutting costs, but how deeply unserious and how deeply callous is it to cut costs on the backs of the veteran? Do we cut costs on the backs of the kid in Head Start, the grandmother on Medicare? How shameful is all of this? How shameful is it?
And in a new move, the president also literally changing change, instructing his Treasury Secretary to stop minting new pennies. It cost nearly 4 cents to produce a 1-cent coin. The president also signed an order to ban paper straws. And breaking late tonight, a Justice Department official tells NBC News that the president's acting attorney general has ordered the dismissal of all charges against New York City Mayor Eric Adams.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Tuesday declared the ceasefire in Gaza would end and fighting with Hamas would continue if the Palestinian militant group did not release hostages by midday Saturday. The militant group said it would not free any more individuals until further notice, over accusations Israel was violating the deal by conducting several deadly shootings, holding up some aid deliveries, and impeding the return of Gazans to the strips north. Israel denies holding back aid and says it has fired on people who disregarded warnings not to approach Israeli troops.
I couldn't stay at home. I feel rage, I feel anger, I feel betrayed by my own government.
We want all the hostages home now.
Every day is critical to save them.
They should have been out a few months ago. You see their situation, they're dying there, and their blood is on this government.
I'd say they ought to be returned by 12 o'clock on Saturday, and if they're not returned, all of them, not in drips and drabs, not 2 and 1 and 3 and 4 and 2. I'm speaking for myself. Israel can override it, but from myself, Saturday at 12 o'clock, and if they're not here, all hell is going to break out.
احنا الناس كلها متخوفة. هاي اليوم مثلا الناس قاعدة تتزود بالمؤن. ليش؟ متخوف انه ترجع الحرب ثاني.
طبعا هاي التصريحات متخوفين احنا في قطاع غزة منها لاندلاع حرب اشد من الحرب اللي قبل، التهديدات اللي بتصير هذه. طبعا احنا خايفين من الامور هذه جدا جدا احنا في قطاع غزة.
You've said before that the US would buy Gaza, and today you just said we're not going to buy Gaza.
We're not going to have to buy. We're going to have Gaza. We don't have to buy. There's nothing to buy. We will have Gaza.
What is that?
No reason to buy.
We reserve the right to decide who gets to go into the Oval Office, and you all have credentials to be here, including the Associated Press, who is in this briefing room today.
But isn't it retaliatory in nature is the argument, because the reason that the AP was barred, which they said was because they're not using the phrase Gulf of America, they're using Gulf of Mexico in line with their standards. And so the question here is this setting a precedent that this White House will retaliate against reporters who don't use the language that you guys believe reporters should use? And how does that align with the First Amendment commitment that you were just talking about?
I was very upfront in my briefing on day one that if we feel that there are lies being pushed by outlets in this room, we are going to hold those lies accountable. And it is a fact that the body of water off the coast of Louisiana is called the Gulf of America. And I'm not sure why news outlets don't want to call it that, but that is what it is. The Secretary of Interior has made that the official designation in the geographical identification name server, and Apple has recognized that, Google has recognized that, pretty much every other outlet in this room has recognized that body of water as the Gulf of America, and it's very important to this administration that we get that right, not just for people here at home, but also for the rest of the world. Sure.
Oh, look, Elon Musk is in fact going after your Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid, welfare, disability, etc. How do we know? How do we guess that? Just this morning, in the wee hours of the morning, he tweeted alleging severe fraud with zero evidence, by the way. I do believe that goes without saying. And what he sweepingly refers to as federal entitlements. That's a classic conservative line. So you know how your parents now receive benefits because they paid into that their whole lives? Well, now those payments that go to your retired parents, according to this guy, are the subject of intense scrutiny because this whole thing is just riddled with fraud. Not only do you not get to see the evidence, but just about no one else does, except for his little hench boys. And no one gets to know what he's going to do with that money that he alleges is paying out fraudulently, like billions of dollars.
Musk, you said on X that an example of the fraud that you have cited was $50 million of condoms was sent to Gaza. But after fact-check this, it apparently Gaza in Mozambique, and the program was to protect them against HIV.
Some of the things that I say will be incorrect and should be corrected. So nobody's going to bat 1,000. I mean, we will make mistakes, but we'll act quickly to correct any mistakes. At a high level, if you say, what is the goal of DOGE, and I think a significant part of the presidency is to restore democracy. This may seem like, well, aren't we in a democracy? Well, if you don't have a feedback loop, FAX, we would have to, if you sorry. So, I tell you, gravitas can be difficult sometimes. Cursory examination of Social Security, and we've got people in there that are 150 years old. Now, do you know anyone who's 150? I don't. Okay. They should be on the Guinness Book of World Records. They're missing out. That's a case where, I think they're probably dead. It's my guess. Or they should be very famous. One of the two.
Prices from one year to the next are the same, and their mortgage.
Perhaps the question we should be asking is the same one that Shea Jordan Smith asked on Twitter, which is, why the fuck is Elon Musk doing press briefings in the White House from the Oval Office? He is not an elected official. Why is he holding court in the Oval Office? Nothing about this is normal or good.
Elon tries all sorts of things for a long time. This is this week's episode.
You take it seriously at all? What do you think he's trying to drive at with this?
I think he's probably just trying to slow us down. He obviously is a competitor. He's working hard and he's raised a lot of money for XAI, and they're trying to compete with us from a technological perspective, from getting the product into the market. And I wish he would just compete by building a better product, but I think there's been a lot of tactics, many lawsuits, all sorts of other crazy stuff, now this. And we'll try to just put our head down and keep working.
Do you think Musk's approach then is from a position of insecurity about XAI?
Probably his whole life is from a position of insecurity. I feel for the guy.
You feel for him?
I do, actually. I don't think he's like a happy person. I do feel for him.
Okay.
Last night I could barely sleep because I had read report after report after report, and the math was devastating. If you add it all up, by 2035, you have over 74 trillion in debt. That 40,000 federal employees leaving is a single day of borrowing. So if you get rid of the Department of Education salaries, and I think this is all of them, 9 hours of borrowing. Healthcare for those who are here illegally. Okay, got you another 9 hours. Let's get rid of the foreign aid. Okay, foreign aid's gone. You got yourself a week. United States, according to the Census Bureau from last month, will have more deaths than births in 8 years. The other stupidity we engage in this country is we educate people in our fine universities and we send them home to compete with us. Turns out, as an economist, you can't hit the number without a talent-based, STEM-based immigration system. You just can't. Because here's your problem. We built the models, so we're going to extend expensing for research and development, so we're doing things better, faster, cheaper. What happens when the very companies that are doing that, the research labs that are doing it, continue to show up in my office and say, we can't get enough people. We're being squeezed. We're going to have to do part of the research on the other side of the world. Have we lost our minds? Oh, but David, you can't tell that. That will upset someone.
Musk gave 7 specific examples off the top of his head of where the corruption and fraud were. I know you didn't play the clips. He was talking about a contractor that had a 3-month contract. He was paid for 20 years. He was talking about welfare benefits that were being paid to someone that was technically 150 years old. He was talking about line items in the Treasury that had no justification.
There's no any like he doesn't present any actual evidence.
Well, he's standing there in the Oval Office. Do you expect him to come in with 10,000 pages? And I have to be clear, to complain about this administration about transparency, when this president takes open questions on a daily basis, yet Joe Biden didn't show up for a press conference this 6 months, is insane. Well, these guys are being extremely transparent. They don't have to sit there and take the questions, but they do. It's all on the website. It's all out. 23 days. You were talking about $2.3 billion that was saved last year. These guys are saving $2.3 billion a day.
Right, but
it's incredible.
That's what they're saying. But where's the proof?
You're waiting. You're not going to be satisfied till he shows up with 10,000 pages. I think
but 10,000 pages. Yeah. He's giving very specific things,
yes, he's giving
but he's not actually giving any evidence of that.
Now, I find it ironic, of course, that our chairwoman, Congresswoman Green, is in charge of running this committee. Now, in the last Congress, Chairwoman Green literally showed a dick pic in our oversight congressional hearing, so I thought I'd bring one as well. Now, this, of course, we know is President Elon Musk. He's also the world's richest man. He was the biggest political donor in the last election. He has billions of dollars in conflicts of interest, and we know that he is leading a power grab, also abided by and encouraged by Donald Trump and, of course, the chairwoman, Congresswoman Green.
Posting on the social media platform Truth Social, Trump says they discussed negotiations to end the war in Ukraine and added that he's already appointed several officials to lead the talks. The Ukrainian government has revealed Trump also spoke to President Zelensky on the phone after his call with Putin.
Well, I think Putin couldn't be happier. I tell you, they're drinking vodka straight out of the bottle in the Kremlin tonight. It was a great day for Moscow. I think Tulsi Gabbard's role as Director of National Intelligence is going to be extremely harmful to our national security. I think many allies are now going to think twice before they share intelligence with us. I think it'll impair our ability to gain confidence around the world. It was one of his worst nominations, beyond a doubt.
If you're running an African American history class, could you perhaps be in violation of this court order, of this executive order?
I'm not quite certain, and I'd like to look into it further and get back to you on that.
So there's a possibility, you're saying, that public schools that run African American history classes, right? This is a class that has been taught in public schools for decades, could lose federal funding if they continue to teach African American history.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that I would like to take a look at these programs and fully understand the breadth of the executive order and get back to you on that.
Oh, I'd like it to be closed immediately. Look, the Department of Education's a big con job.
I wanted to read what their plan is for education. So number one, the decline in the number of children that Americans are having is driven primarily by values, priorities, and government policies. Government subsidies for higher education and credentialism are exacerbating the decline by providing incentives to delay or forego family formation. Ending higher education subsidies and offering school choices that include religious education should be viewed as key pro-fertility policies. They want to limit access to education, make the schooling process quicker so younger people are having children, trying to brainwash people into having kids. None of that addresses or talks about the issues why people are not choosing not to have children. It's too fucking expensive. The world we live in is doesn't care about the well-being of those children, but they want to force people to have more children.
If you say that you're afraid of Trump and that's why you don't want the city to be a safe space for trans people, you better prepare for trans people to make this a very unsafe space.
It was standing room only at Tuesday's Worcester City Council meeting as about 200 residents joined the discussion over making Worcester a sanctuary city for those who identify as transgender or gender diverse. Local organization Queer Residents of Worcester and our allies filed the petition asking the city to make the designation, pledging to not cooperate with federal and state policies aimed at harming transgender and gender diverse people, as well as ensuring that the LGBTQ+ community has access to healthcare, housing, education, and employment without fear of discrimination.
Right now, trans folks are under attack at the federal level, and we need to reaffirm our commitment to our trans community explicitly. It can't be wrapped in a "we care about everyone here."
This campaign comes on the heels of the first openly non-binary member elected to the council, Worcester City Councilor at Large Thu Nguyen, taking a hiatus from the council after they say the environment was transphobic.
It is your responsibility to stand up and fight for our people, for your people, for the people.
This is a democratic process, and I'm not going to be bullied or intimidated.
City councilors Morris Bergman and Donna Calorio were the two dissenting votes in a 9-2 vote in favor of it.
There's no new rights that this resolution gives that don't already exist. However, there's the potential for federal dollars to be taken away from the city of Worcester.
Worcester is not alone. A similar resolution passed in Northampton, Mass, as well as other cities around the country.
I believe in truth and justice. I believe that we will win.
As I understand it, the argument was that Russian disinformation had infected the Romanian elections. But I'd ask my European friends to have some perspective. You can believe it's wrong for Russia to buy social media advertisements to influence your elections. We certainly do. You can condemn it on the world stage even. But if your democracy can be destroyed with a few $100,000 of digital advertising from a foreign country, then it wasn't very strong to begin with.
On the sidelines, fans met with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky.
We need to speak more, to work more, and to prepare the plan how to stop Putin and finish the war. We want peace very much, but we need real security guarantees.
At the White House Thursday, President Donald Trump dismissed Kyiv's NATO membership bid and its desire to win back Russian-occupied territories. Trump said he and Russian President Vladimir Putin have agreed to begin talks to end the war.
And I think we'll probably end up at some point getting a ceasefire in the not-too-distant future.
Tonight, measles, a disease once declared eliminated in the U.S., spreading rapidly through rural West Texas. 48 cases reported so far, mostly in children and teens, 13 people hospitalized, and all of those infected either unvaccinated or their status unknown.
They're not at the gate anymore.
They're in your bedrooms. They're in your living rooms. They're in your businesses. They got your data, dumbass. They got all your stuff. Elon Musk has his tentacles in everything you're doing, not just off of X, but now he's in the Treasury Department. He's in the Labor Department. He's in the Department of Homeland Security. And nobody seems to give a damn.
We're going to make it hot. We made the presidency hot, so this should be easy.